feeds Pelosi. Off the wall to Harris. Harris has got Pelosi. Harris to Pelosi. Shot. He scores! Chris Pelosi!
And Poitras trying to drive in on that right wing side. Poitras in. Scores! Matt Poitras in overtime.
Willis took it right off his stick. Sends one through. They score! First career goal for the Bruins draft pick, Dom.Hockey.
To the blue line. Cowan has it, looking for the return feed. Cowan lets it go back to the point. Shot! Score!
Those were without all of their World Junior guys for that against Simon Fraser. BC played him Sunday. Good pass ahead. There's Yelvik. He scores! Didn't need an exhibition.
Will come up with it. Ross Schwab flips it out to center. Now McKinney gets chased with Harrison. Harrison to the backhand. Score! A deft touch.
Watch out. Nelson steals. Walks in. Scores! 6-2. Jackson Nelson has the hat trick.
In Crosby line. Padula wins that battle. Now he's going to waltz it.
Welcome in, folks, for this week's episode of Dom.Hockey The Podcast. Dom, been a short 24 hours for us since we were on yesterday to go over all the moves the Bruins made, but how you doing today, and are you excited to bring another episode by our friends over at Ice Shaker to the
Yes,
folks?
I am. We have a trade to talk about today.
I know.
But before we get to that and all the prospects, something that I feel we should clear up. We talked about it last night. And Elliot Friedman, who gets most of his information from Wade Arnott, who is Brad Marchand's agent, came out to this today and said he is absolutely certain that the Bruins did not offer Brad Marchand a deal that was worth less than his current contract. In other words, they didn't offer a pay cut. And in other words, the talk out there about $3 million offers was bullshit.
Yeah. And I guess the real question is would you have done 3 more years at his current pay rate?
Well, I mean, I've been pretty clear that my belief was that it wasn't money, it was term, and that the Bruins had offered 2 and Marchand wanted 4. And Marchand has very publicly said that he wants to play until he's 40. So take it from there. But just to clear up, the $3 million supposed lowball offers was total bullshit.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, the move itself stings, but it's done. It's processed. Now we got to look forward. We've got some great new pieces in the system to take a look at. We'll dive into some of them today. And as you mentioned, we've got a trade. Evan Gold was busy too.
Yeah. So this is an AHL level trade. So Providence traded Drew Bavero, who they signed last year as a college free agent, to Cleveland in return for Jake Gaudette. Here's the catch. Drew Bavero is under an NHL contract, but Jake Gaudette is under an AHL contract. This is an AHL-only trade. So the Bruins, in turn, had to loan Bavero to the Cleveland Monsters. They still hold on to his rights. He's still a Boston Bruins property, just not playing for their AHL affiliate. Why? There wasn't a lot of ice time for him down in Providence, and I'm wondering whether they are opening up a spot for Jonathan Mirenberg to come over from Sweden. And we'll touch on that as we go through the prospects. And when we get to Mirenberg, we'll explain his current situation.
And I just refreshed the Providence's transaction page, and they have released Tristan Ashbrook, who's also a center. So Gaudette must be taking his spot. They've released him from his PTO.
Yeah.
So it just sounds like it's a corresponding move. And we'll dive more in. I know I've seen it all over Twitter and other places, questions about the future of, the prospect pool and who's in it and stuff like that, especially because some players were sent down. They haven't been called back up yet. We'll dive into that after we go through the non-pro guys, because we'll work on it. So,
well, why don't we start with Casper Nason? Thank goodness his season is finally over. I don't have their record in front of me, but I believe Miami only won 3 games all season, and they were all in October. It was just brutal. They lost weekend games to Western Michigan, 8-3 on Friday, got blown away, and lost 5-2 on Saturday. Nason had an assist in Saturday's game, but that was about it. I'm just glad his season is over. We don't have to talk about how bad that team was. And I'm hoping that, before next season, he enters the transfer portal and goes someplace else.
Yeah, it's just been a rough year for him. I don't even know if we can really put a proper grade on his year. How did he do against your projections? Do you have that by chance with you?
Yeah, let me get to the right file here. Casper Nason had him projected for 6 goals. He got 6. Had him projected for 10 assists. He got 4.
Yeah.
The team just wasn't scoring.
I was going to say a little under the projections, but I mean, he did his part, or the projected part of his due diligence. So, I mean, if you look at just the numbers as far as goals and production, you can say, oh, he missed the targets. Yeah, but the whole team sucked.
Oh, 3 wins in a season. Yeah. And they're all in the first month of the season.
Yeah. Get that man into the transfer portal and get him closer. I honestly don't even care. Get him to Providence College for all I care. Just get him out of there.
Anywhere. Yeah.
So, poor kid. Anyway.
It's done. The misery's over.
And it's no reflection on him either. So let's give him one more year before we. And I know it's not us, but some people are going to start complaining about him. But
yeah,
let's 6'4", 205. I'm willing to be a little patient with that. So, but who hasn't had such a bad year? Next up on our list, Dan Sloch-Mellis.
Yeah. So back-to-back games with Maine. They won Friday night. He didn't register a point, but boy, did he come to play on Saturday. Goal and an assist. And we have the highlights, right?
Yes.
From Saturday?
Was just getting it pulled up here. And we do have audio this time as well.
Away. O'Neill, Lashmillis, dangles, score!
This was a beautiful dangle. Like,
he's in tight on the goal.
I don't know if we got another angle of it.
I'm trying to remember too.
Yeah, I think there is.
After the Minutemen caused that turnover from David Brazil in the
And I know you like that goaltender too.
Love him.
That's what this Minutemen team is so good at causing havoc on their
Ooh.
opponents. Dontas Millis gets that puck on his
That went
overhead,
5-hole.
gets Boya to bite just a little bit and then sneaks it in the 5-hole after he had
Filthy. Ooh.
Now, he also had an assist. I believe we got that set up.
We do.
Yeah, I didn't catch it early enough, but there'll be a highlight of this. This
I believe
pass,
they replay it.
the pass is unbelievable.
The Minutemen were dominating this shift in the offensive zone. Dontas Millis makes the play along the wall out of the corner.
Ooh, yeah, right there from along the boards.
With a picture perfect snipe bar down, what you do in the driveway on the shooter.
Oh man.
Now, I don't know how quickly you can queue it up. This goaltender, Albin Boya, Boija, plays for the University of Maine, is in his second season, and is just tearing it up. And he makes highlight reel save after highlight reel save. And this one is on Don Sluchmelis, who can really fire the puck.
Rebound.
Oh!
Save.
Oh my God!
Save of the year.
Ooh, I'm gonna play that one more time.
Yeah.
He's got a wide open net.
Save.
Oh my God!
Save of
The thing is he's at the top of the crease there.
And he
Kicking the
one-times
puck.
it.
Yeah,
He
just inside the post. And
Oh.
he drops the stick and gets it with the blocker.
oh man. You
I'll
said
be
he's second
doing-
year, right?
I'll be doing a list of college free agents that I'd like for them to go after, and he's on my list.
I mean,
we're
they need
hoping to do a show next week, guys. Hopefully on Wednesday, that is strictly on the college free agents. I'm trying to get an NCAA scout to come on with us and talk about them for those that are interested in free agency, because it started now. There's already been a couple of signings. But yeah, that save was on Don Sluchmelis. He had one earlier in the year that was on the other side. Same type of thing. He was at the top of the crease, came back to the corner, and caught it on the glove side.
Yeah, they don't have goaltending in their system. They need someone, and I like Jay Crow's connection here. Need Black Bear alumni Swayman to get boots on the ground. So
Yeah.
and Bear Force even says Bruins need to sign that goalie. They need to sign a goalie. I'd love it for it to be him. So
Yeah, he's on my. I don't know that he turns pro this year. He's got 2 more years of eligibility.
yeah, but you
but
can still draft him and get his rights.
No, he's not draft eligible.
Oh, he's not.
No,
Okay.
I think he's aged out.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to look it up. So let's go on to BC. Only had one game on the weekend. 6-0 win over Merrimack on Saturday. Our boy Andre Gassot. I got the numbers in front of me, Chris. So I have him pegged for 16 goals on the season. He's got 15, and 21 assists. He's got 15. So he still has some time to get there. He's right on target. He had a pair of assists on Saturday. I believe we have the highlights.
Yes, I have the first one right here. I was letting you get through the numbers first. So you can see him along the boards there in the back corner.
This is a great
Gasso
pass.
reaching for it. Hits Leonard. Got it over for Gabe Perreault. West Spacey scores.
And I like the fact that he's on a line with other NHL prospects, like drafted prospects.
So I'll play the other one, and then I'm going to make a comment about Oscar Yelvik.
All right. So we got Gasso highlighted again here.
Still second nationally, by the way, coming in today. Stiga is in. Stiga scores!
The thing there is he breaks up the play in the neutral zone.
Yeah, I'll bring it back to the beginning here. He just gets right in the way and in the same motion gets it over to Stiga.
Yeah. So obviously Oscar Yelvik is still out injured. I doubt he plays again this season. And the argument I am getting from a lot of people is that Yelvik was the beneficiary of playing with Ryan Leonard. Okay? Here's my counter argument to that. It's that the two of them fit each other so well, like a glove. The chemistry between them was that good. You look at Ryan Leonard's production this year without Yelvik. Okay? He needs to, in the next 7 games, if they play that long, score at 2 points per game clip just to match last year's total. So his production is down without Yelvik, just as much as Yelvik benefited. I'm not saying Yelvik is some superstar. I'm just saying that the two of them fit together that well. It's the old argument I used to have with Connor McDavid, arguably the best hockey player in the world, when he was playing for the Erie Otters with Alex DeBrincat. And everybody was weary about Alex DeBrincat because he was playing shotgun to Connor McDavid. Therefore, he had inflated stats. I'm like, no. And I broke down every single game. And did you know that when Alex DeBrincat was away from Connor McDavid, DeBrincat's stats went up? Obviously, because McDavid has the puck a lot. But when Connor McDavid was away from Alex DeBrincat, McDavid's stats went down. Right. It's just sometimes you have a fit, which is what Yelvik and Leonard are. It doesn't mean they're on the same level, but sometimes you just have a fit that both players benefit each other.
Hey, Dom, you know where else we're seeing that?
Where?
David Pastrnak and Morgan Geekie.
Yes. Does
Geekie belong on the same line as David Pastrnak?
No.
Not talent level wise, but they fit. They know it's a game of who's going to be where, and do they know? And they just know.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you get that fit, and like Yelvik and Gasso are great together. They're absolutely great together. I've said it many times on here. You've always agreed with me to get those two in Providence together and let them to continue to build that chemistry.
Yeah. I just worry about whether or not they go pro at the same time, just because Gasso's got because Yelvik has the injury.
Yeah, but
I don't think 1 year, if Gasso goes back, or if Yelvik stays for 1 year and Gasso turns pro this year, I don't think that's going to change much for the long-term future.
No,
get them back together in Providence in 2 years, and they'll be on the same line again.
Yep, exactly.
So, and now, sorry.
Now, Gasso may look at Boston now and say, "Where's my opportunities going to be?" and decide to go back for another year and try free agency.
He could,
always a possibility.
Yeah, and I think some of BC's decisions the players there are gonna decide based on whether or not they win a national championship too. They should. They're that good, but upsets happen. So
yeah.
And the last of our BC boys, Dean Letourneau,
Zeros across the board, 1 for 4 on the dot. I think he had like 12 minutes time on ice, which is a jump from what he's been getting all season long. So it's nice to see that his ice time has gone up over the last maybe 2-3 weeks.
Still not a bust, though.
Well, it depends on who you ask.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. But we're not declaring him a bust.
No, far from it.
We need to see where he's at next year to finally be like, okay, here's where he's at. So,
yeah. So Jake Schmaltz, North Dakota beat Omaha on Friday 3-1. Schmaltz only played about 4 minutes, left the game with an injury. Came back Saturday, but they lost 7-3. Schmaltz was -2, 7 for 10 on the dot, 14 minutes time on ice. Well below what he usually gets. North Dakota and Omaha will face each other in a best-of-3 next weekend to start the NCHC playoffs. So we'll see what happens there.
yeah, where do you stand on Schmaltz? Where's he at with his predictions, and where do you think he stands going into next season?
Sorry, Schmaltz?
Yeah.
I don't think he gets offered a contract. Not by Boston.
Yeah, I would say probably PTO from somebody at best.
Yeah.
ATO even.
But I don't see, with all the centers that they brought in, I don't think he's getting a deal.
Now, what about Beckett Hendrickson over at the University of Minnesota?
Holy man. Shit. So they started their best-of-3 against Notre Dame and lost. They lost in 3 games. They lost Friday night 3-2, the Big Ten quarterfinal. No points for Hendrickson. 2 shots on goal, 12.5 minutes time on ice. Saturday, they evened the series up with a 4-2 win. Zilcho for Hendrickson, 2 shots on goal again, 11:05 time on ice. Sunday, I couldn't believe it because I was trying to stay up with this while we were doing our show. Notre Dame beat them 4-1. I think there's 2 empty net goals in that game. So they took the series 2-1. Hendrickson was a -1 in this game, 3 shots on goal. They're not eliminated. They'll still be in the NCAA tournament. I think they were ranked 4th in the pairwise, so they'll still be there. They're just not going to win the NHC championship.
Well, Beckett Hendrickson this year finishes with, or currently has, 3 goals, 9 assists for 12 points. Where does that stand up based on your projections for him in his freshman season there?
I had him for 11 goals, 16 assists.
So
he's short on the assists, but I honestly thought he was going to be playing third line. That affects my formula, and he's been on the 4th line almost all season. But next year he'll be moving up next year, and next year's the year to really worry about.
Is that something just based on the way your formula is set up that you can adjust and maybe by next week say, okay, if I had projected him as a 4th liner, this is where he would have been?
Yeah, because his teammates come into play, or his line mates come into play. So,
Right.
and that affects things.
I'm just curious because I know we'll talk about him more next week as well. So at some point, I'd be interested to compare what would you have projected him for if you had known the role he was going to have versus projecting the role and obviously not having it line up. So, But we can dive more into that. Again, he's a freshman. I'm not putting too much stock into it.
Yeah.
Let's see where he comes back to next year. And, I mean, dude, he's solid, at 175, 6'2". He's a left shot, right? Left shot center. So still a little ways down the pike. We'll see where he's at in a couple of years if he's ready to turn pro. But you know who's going to be turning pro this year? And I fully still expect him to get a contract.
So do I.
Our friend over at Colorado College, Ty Gallagher, 7th round draft pick, Ty Gallagher.
Yeah, so back-to-back with Denver. Lost 4-1 on Friday and then lost 4-3 on Saturday. Gallagher all season long has led Colorado College in scoring as a defenseman until the last 2 weeks. He's gone cold offensively the last 2 weeks. I think he's pointless in 5. Still, a minute eater. 21-18 time on ice on Friday. 23-45 on Saturday. Went pointless in the 2 games. The bad thing for Colorado College is they've got to face Denver again next weekend in a best of 3 in the NCHC quarterfinals. So that's going to be tough sledding for them. I think we'll see that Gallagher's season may be over next weekend.
But you know what? I can't wait to see him join in Providence.
Yeah.
So.
Now, we said at the top of the show that the trading of Bavaro might have opened up a spot for Mirenberg, but it could also be for Gallagher.
Yeah, Mirenberg's had a tough season. We'll get to him in a little bit. He's coming up on our list. So, it could just be we have a couple guys that we want to target and bring in on the blue line, and we want to give them a chance. So let's move Bavaro. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the Providence roster. So we'll come back to that. Our friends Chris Pelosi and Elliot Groenwald had such a great game; they didn't even play.
Yeah, they had a bye, so they'll be facing Brown in the ECAC quarterfinals next weekend.
So that brings us to Ryan Walsh.
Yeah. So they defeated Yale in the opening round of the ECAC playoffs. Same one Quinnipiac is in. No points for Walsh, was a -1. Won 16 of 23 faceoffs. They'll now face Colgate in a best of 3 next weekend. And Walsh is still leading Cornell in scoring.
Which you love to see.
Yeah.
So second-year player. Yeah. Let's keep an eye on him as they go into the tournament. I don't have a lot to add because there's not much to really break down to.
No.
He's just being steady. He's consistent. You got to like that.
Yeah. Mr. Consistency. That's what he's been all season long. I know that coming in, there was some doubts on the type of offense that he could produce. I had him pegged for 17 goals on the season. They're still playing. He's at 13. And 18 assists. He's at 12. So he's on target to meet those. He's on pace for 17 goals, 16 assists.
That's all you're looking for. Consistency and hitting the projections. So we can move on to Bruins namesake, Mason Langenbrunner, if you want.
Yeah. So Harvard defeated RPI 5-2 in the first round of the ECAC playoffs. Langenbrunner set up the insurance goal in the second period. Had 2 shots on goal, 18:30 time on ice, and they'll face Clarkson in the best of 3 next weekend. Oh, you've got the setup here.
We've got the
Okay.
we've got the assist right here as you went
Yeah.
in and circled them nicely here for us.
Justin Galancy, Mike Basile, Tyler Davey, and our entire tremendous crew. So glad you're with us tonight. Breakaway in front is Thompson.
Like you really didn't have to do
for
anything except
Thompson.
put the pass on the stick.
I was just say he put the pass right where it had to go. So
Yeah.
if he's off a little bit on that pass, that puck doesn't go in. So
Right.
but again, it's interesting to see his ice time get picked up, but now he's performing the way that he should,
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where the team goes with him going forward. So
Yeah. So Jonathan Marenberg, in what was basically must-win games for him, he didn't register a point. His brother came up big with back-to-back shutouts. They defeated Malmo 3-0, and then Timrå 2-0. Wait a minute. The first game of the week, he did not play. That was on Wednesday. Thursday, they won 2-0. His ice time is down. He was like 10 minutes. I think he's hurt again, to be honest with you. Then they beat Rogel 3-2 in overtime on Saturday, and he was down to 8 minutes. Here's the thing. They've got one game remaining in the season tomorrow. They can no longer make the playoffs, and they could get forced down to the relegation round for demotion next year. Here's what has to happen. Modo has to win 1-0, and then Marenberg's team has to lose by 23 goals for them to get knocked out. So it's pretty much guaranteed their season is done tomorrow. And then we'll have to see what happens with Marenberg. Remember, the Bruins have to sign him by June the 1st, or they lose his rights. To me, it was a no-brainer that you sign this kid. Remember, when the Bruins acquired him, he was ranked among the top 3 of Vancouver Canucks prospects. This season has just been a wash. Missed 34 games, is obviously hurt again. I don't know to what extent. He was still able to get on the ice. So we'll just have to wait and see. But
yeah, this is genuinely what does the team think about how this year went? Is it enough to knock him out of the plans? Because it does seem like coming into the year, they were going to bring him over. They were looking at bringing him over at least. And now having missed so much time, and it just, I don't know.
And they really liked him at development camp.
Yeah.
Every camp he's been to. You were there. He was he looked like the best defenseman out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either direction. That's why I don't know which way to go with it. And it's not cheap to bring him over.
No,
So
it's not.
you have to be sure, and I get it. It's easy for me to sit here and be like, "Oh, fuck it, it's not my money. Pay whatever it takes, get him over here, and see what you got." But at the same time, someone's got to pay that bill.
Yeah.
And if that were my money, I would be sitting here going, I didn't get this much money because I threw it away on random maybes. So I'd want to know, how sure are you that he's good to go?
I don't think money's an issue with Boston. I really don't.
I don't think it's going to be the deciding factor.
I
but
don't.
I'm sure it's going to be part of the decision, though.
Yeah, but you know, they did it with Soderberg when they brought him over. They had to pay a pretty penny to get. They had to buy out the contract first of all, because there was no opt-out at that time for Carl Soderberg. So they had to pay the contract out. Then they had to pay the transfer fees. Then they had to sign him. So the Bruins are willing to do it for the right player. I just don't know where we are at with Jonathan Muhlenberg at this point.
Yeah, we just don't know if they think he's one of those players.
Yeah, I would have said a year ago, I would have said definitely. I mean, I had him ranked fifth in the prospect pool or something like that, way up there. He was that damn good. Is an injury, well, we all know certain types of injuries can derail a player's career.
And I don't know if we have the details on what he had injured or what his injury was.
No, and remember, he wasn't examined by Boston doctors either.
Right.
So, you're relying on secondhand information.
Are they able to fly him over, have their doctors look at him and assess him, and then make the decision?
I would believe that would fall. He would need approval from his Swedish team to be able to do that. Because remember, he's still their property.
Right. Okay. That's a fair. That would be a fair, I guess, compromise. But I didn't know if there was anything in the NHL's rules and regulations that would prevent them from doing it, other than getting Linkoping's approval to do it.
I'm sure that they could get approval to do it. It's just, I'd hate to give up on someone who was as talented as he was and as capable as he was. But then again, I don't know how much the injury has affected his game. I mean, we've shown highlights where he made mistakes, and I said a year ago he doesn't make those mistakes.
Yeah, I feel like the path to take with him is try to examine him yourself. See where he's at physically based on that, because the other stuff you can work with him on. Anything that's mental because of the injury, you can work with him on.
Yeah.
Anything that, habits that become lazy because maybe he wasn't in the best position based on where Linkoping was this year in the standings. Like, some of that stuff, the skill just doesn't go away.
No, and you got to remember, but at the same time he came back, they fired their coach and brought in a new coach. So a lot of different things at play here.
Right. I think you bring them over, again, get their blessing, bring them over, look at them, and depending on how that knee, or was it a knee injury or upper, lower? I don't even remember, but
I'm just going to say lower body.
I don't even know if it was a knee injury. So in my head, I was thinking the Lindholm knee. But yeah, just get his body examined and go from there. So, but who isn't hurt? Another defenseman.
Loki Johansson hurts. He isn't hurt.
Exactly. He does the hurting.
3 games, 3 wins. They'd won 7 in a row coming into the week and have dethroned the London Knights as the top team in the CHL. The Knights had been number 1 for 13 consecutive weeks until they took over. So they beat Sidney Crosby's old team 3-2. That would be Rimouski for those that don't know. Johnson earned an assist on the game-winning goal. You have it, Chris.
I do. You ready for it?
This is the one yeah, let her go. Oh, it's in French.
Johansson. Rassorta dégage à l'autre bout. Ça va se retrouver dans le fond du filet. Loki Johansson fait 4-2 Moncton.
The goal, the empty net goal he got.
Yep.
Yeah, you went one too far.
Oh, I must have gotten rid of the other one. And I think I have it. Give me 1 second here. I don't know why that one closed out on me. I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on.
Yeah, that's the empty net goal he got on Saturday. So he had the assist on Wednesday. Friday against Moncton, they won 4-1. +1, one shot on goal, 2 hits, 2019 time on ice. Every once in a while, I'm able to get the time on ice for the Q players. And then they won on Saturday 5-2. 3 shots on goal, +2, 8 and 11 time on ice. You saw the empty net goal there that he got right in the middle of the net, like smack dab in the middle of the net. And then we go to another defenseman in the USHL.
A big boy.
Yeah. Good old Dubuque won 4-3 in overtime Friday. Christian Konstantinsky scores the opening goal of the game 1:10 in. Wicked wrist shot. He almost falls. But
Of course, yes. You pointed him out right here. Not that anybody can miss the behemoth of a man right there on the blue line.
yeah,
But he steps up and rips it.
and almost falls as he's doing it.
Of course, who would have put money on Christian Konstantinsky opening the scoring?
It would have paid well.
Oh, I absolutely. Nice step up and rips it. Honestly, I think he just surprised the goalie. Oh my God, he took a shot.
Watch. Well, he gets a lot of pucks on that, but just back up the second replay of it and just watch his technique when shooting. It's like I love the guy. I really do. Man, if he can ever get his skating in order, he's going to be nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. So I'm pulling for him. I really am.
I'm pulling for the guy too.
So
they got to work with him on that skating.
Yeah. So he finished a +1, 3 shots on net. Really, we got to see Jonathan Morello here setting up the overtime winner.
The OT winner on Friday right here. Let's get that going. I know you've got him highlighted as well.
Rabkin dancing into the Saints end. The puck turned past him and out to center. 2 on 0 for the Saints. Morello and Cornforth into the offensive zone. Morello left wing out in front. Cornforth, he scores! The Saints win it in overtime. Morello to Cornforth, and Cornforth wins it for the Saints. His 21st goal of the season.
I wish this replay went back a little bit further because he's the one breaking up the play in the D zone.
I was going to say, we have it right here where you've highlighted him. He comes in and breaks that up right here again and breaks it out, carries it up.
His speed is just
start to finish, just a great play from him.
His offense is not where I would like it to be, but his defensive game has really come along. So on Saturday, they lost 4-3 in overtime to Muskegon. Kostadinsky zeros across the board. Another beauty of an assist for Morello here.
This one made it 2-0. So again, he's along the boards here.
This pass.
That's filthy. It comes from right across from the board.
Yeah, right there. He back it up. So go So back up just a little bit. This is where he looks over and he knows where everybody on the ice is.
And not even a stride later, he cuts the pass. But yeah, he just. Now I gotta know what is going on in this matchup. Obviously, ultimately, he's the one who scores the goal. But what is this winger doing? He just lets him get to the middle of the ice.
Yeah, but Morello slowed it down to get that lane just where he wants. This is the thing that frustrates me about Jonathan Morello. He is capable of making plays like that consistently. And, I've said it on this show since the draft last year, where people talked about him being a possibility with the fifth round. I go, no way, this guy's a third rounder at worst. And he fell to the fifth. So it was a great grab, but just the consistency offensively has not been there this year. Just let me get his numbers here, Chris.
Yeah,
so I had him pegged
for projections.
I had him pegged for 18 goals. He's got 7, on pace for 9. Had him pegged for 26 assists. He's got 18. He's on pace for 23. So that's close. The goal scoring is way down. We've shown highlights of some of the goals he's capable of scoring. The consistency just hasn't been there with him. And that's what this has disappointed me the most about him. His defensive game, love it. Love it. It's exactly where I thought it would be watching him in the OJHL a year ago. So, yeah, a little disappointed.
How many more years does he have with Dubuque? That's what I'm trying to pull up here.
He's going to, what college is he going to next year? I forget what college he's going to, but he's committed.
Okay. Well, that's good. I think NCAA might help him a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but he'll be one of those who gets 0 goals and 6 assists in his first year, and they'll be calling him a bust.
That's okay. I like it when those people get proven wrong.
Yeah, so anyway, your friend Konstantinsky was back at it on Sunday. They defeated Chicago 3-2. Another wicked wrister from the half wall to put Dubuque up 2-1. We've got this one, Chris.
I've got the Konstantinsky goal right here. This is the one from Sunday.
I hope he falls down on this one, too.
Van Vliet, the puck comes back to the top. Dennis goes down the wall. Van Vliet cycles. Cross ice. Konstantinsky all alone. Far side. He scores! Konstantinsky rips it past the glove. It's a 2-1 Saints lead.
Got a wicked wrister
to the second period.
Well, with that much body behind it, he's got to have some amount of shot. I don't care if it's a slap shot or a wrist shot. You got to have some shot with that body.
Can you play it again? Because it skipped there.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
Down low. Van Vliet, the puck comes back to the top. Dennis goes down the wall. Van Vliet cycles.
So he's over here at the coming in on the circle.
Cross ice. Konstantinsky all alone. Far side. He scores! Konstantinsky.
Pass was solid too.
It's a 2-1 Saints lead. 4:40 in to the second period.
I mean, if it helps, he skates fine when he's skating by the bench.
Yeah. Just when he falls, it's so funny, man, because he's so big. So Morello didn't play. Morello didn't play on Sunday. Don't know why. And Spicer had zeros across the board. But Spicer did score a goal on Saturday.
Yes, I got that one right here. And again, with the arrow right here in the middle of the screen, we're
moving right back in. Ruohonen toward the front. Spicer back in. They score! The Saints tie it right back up. Cole Spicer Banks it inside the post, and the Saints rush back into the zone and convert to tie it at 3. Cole Spicer on the board with his 7th of the season.
Now stop it there. Oh, back up.
Right.
Okay, let it go for a bit. Stop it there. So the puck's going to go off his stick. Okay. Then off his right skate. Then off the defender's stick. And in the net.
He got lucky, but
you got to be good to be lucky, because every time we show a Spicer highlight and a goal, he's always evading the check. He's finding open ice, and that's exactly what he did here. He intentionally cut across there. Go back, way back to the beginning.
Oh, way
like
back.
He's in traffic.
Oh, over here, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna play it.
He's in traffic, and he gets away from it.
Yeah, he finds open ice.
What he's really, really good at that. I don't care how fluky the goal was. If he didn't get to that open ice and go to the net, that goal never happened.
Exactly. Doing the right things at the right times leads to the goal. So,
yeah. So, let's go to William Zellers of the Green Bay Gamblers, who the Bruins acquired.
We have someone new in our highlights.
Yeah, they acquired him from the Colorado Avalanche for Charlie Coyle. But first of all, there's a tweet that I had you capture to put up.
Yes. Would you like me to read it while it's up?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, so Pete Krupski, he responded to someone talking about the deal, and he said, Will Zellers is legit. 8 goals in 5 games against the #NTDP this season. I called 7 personally at USA Hockey Arena. Zellers is this season's Cole Yzerman.
Okay, so let me say this about Pete. I've known Pete a long, long time. He used to be the play-by-play voice of the Plymouth Whalers in the Ontario Hockey League. And that goes back to the days that Tyler Sagan played for them. He is the play-by-play voice of the national team development program. And as he says, he's called, 7 of his games?
7
goals in the 5s that he's called.
Of his 8 goals too.
Yeah. So I will say this. I have to say this, and Pete's not going to get upset at me for saying it. This is why I don't do player comparables. I don't think it's fair to Zellers to make that comparison to Yzerman. But I have a lot of respect for Pete. And he called Yzerman for 2 years while Yzerman was at the national team. Okay, so he knows Yzerman a lot better than I do. But I'm still not willing to make that comparison. I refuse to, but I respect his opinion. I've got a lot of respect for Pete.
Yeah, for someone who watches a player that much, to make that comparison, like you said, is it unfair to Zellers to be compared to someone like that? Yeah, definitely. But it also there's also a factor to, if he didn't deserve the comparison, he wouldn't get it. So there's got to be a little bit of a confidence boost there too. It's when the fans hear that, they're trying to now immediately it's Yzerman, Zellers on the same tier. They're exactly the same.
Yeah,
So,
the thing is Pete is not biased here. He's not. He's rooting for the guys on the national team. So that's who he works for. That's who he roots for. Again, I respect him, but I wouldn't make that comparison, and I won't make any comparison.
So now the question is, how did Zellers do this weekend with the Green Bay Gamblers?
So they lost 3-1 on Friday. Zellers didn't register a point. On Saturday, they won 6-3. Goal and assist. Sorry, they lost 6-3. Goal and assist for Zellers. I think we have both of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want the assist first or the goal first?
Which one's nicer? I'm trying to remember. Do the goal first.
Okay. We'll do the goal first. So you've highlighted him right here at the center dot.
Yeah.
Got it over to Park, who chips it to himself off the boards. Going to the net, Carcone. Park couldn't pull the trigger on the shot. Hits the ice. Carcone. Zellers!
I love how he stays right by the net.
Great players find open ice and just go undetected all the time.
Number 38 for Zellers!
Constantly. That's what great players do.
And before we get too amazed by the goal, let's pull up the assist here as well. He's at his own face-off circle here.
Yeah. Peterson. Side of the net, and we're tied! Zelena!
Puck's down low. He gets the puck down low, right in front of the goal line.
Same spot. Look how unprotected he is. Right across the crease, bang, back of the net. All in one motion. Kid's got a lot of talent. I will, if I can do a self plug here again, Chris. If you go to Dom.Hockey, DOM.Hockey, I've got a write up on the 3 new prospects on there. Goes into a little bit more depth that we're going to give here at this time. You can go read up on it and get my thoughts on 3 of the guys anyway.
Yeah, and I will say you heard that correctly. 38 goals in 42 games with 22 assists. So super pumped to see him at University of North Dakota next season.
Yeah, and that's a great program he's going to in North Dakota.
Yeah, 5'11", 170, left shot forward, and he was a 3rd-round draft pick. So he will be. I guess the question is how many years do you think he'll need at the University of North Dakota before?
He ain't spending 4 years there. I think
that's what I mean.
Maybe 2.
I would love to see him only need 2. Obviously, you got to see how players adapt to different environments. You got to see how he does with everything, all the off ice stuff. But it's
like I said, it's a great program. They teach the off ice stuff, but more importantly, one of his weaknesses is his play away from the puck, and I'm confident that North Dakota, who has a history of teaching players how to play away from the puck, I have full confidence that they're going to teach him, and he's going to learn.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he does. It's just going to be real exciting to continue to see his development, and knowing that he's in the Bruins system now is great. So,
yeah, so let's move on to Providence College and Philip Svedback. They lost to BU on Thursday, 8-1.
that'll hurt the numbers.
Svedback was under the weather, did not play.
I didn't say his. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. And he didn't play in Saturday's game either. Same illness. But they beat Northeastern 3-2. So Providence College will now face Connecticut in the Hockey East quarterfinals on Friday. And then we'll have to see what happens from there.
What do you think of just his season overall? Obviously, it sucks that he didn't play in these games, but his season overall.
I honestly think he is much better when he doesn't have to play back-to-backs. For 2 years, he did a lot of that with PC. This year, not as much, but he still had to do it at times. And he's not a quantity goaltender. We've shown some highlights of some really bad rebounds he's given up, some really bad goals he's given up because of poor positioning. I think it's more of a mental thing with him than a physical thing. It's no, I don't think he's tired physically from playing back-to-backs. I just think it's more of a mental thing with him. He'll be a decent backup. He's not a starter. He's not a starter at the NHL.
The NHL, but you know what? If that is the case, where it's the mentality or the mental side of things, where he's not able to do back-to-back starts consistently, maybe that's what makes him an elite backup.
Yeah, but you got to remember he's got to get through Providence before he gets to Boston. And what is the American Hockey League? A weekend league. You play 2-2 or you play 3-3.
Yep.
The odd time you get a game during the week. So if he can't get it fixed, he can't be a starter in the American Hockey League. And if you're not a starter in the American Hockey League, how do you become a backup in the National Hockey League?
Yeah, that's the question. So again, we talked about it earlier. This team needs to find goaltending this year.
Yeah. Because we don't know what's happening with Bussy and DiPietro being unrestricted free agents.
And even with that, you still got Korpisalo locked up for the next 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So you've got some decisions to make in goal.
Yeah, bringing in a guy now should make him ready by the time Korpisalo's deal runs out.
Yeah.
But you got to find that guy.
Yeah, and maybe come draft time, someone's looking to bolster their goaltending room, and you can move off the Korpisalo contract. Who knows if that's the case? If you are able to get out of the Korpisalo contract, I do think that you could see DiPietro next season.
Yeah.
Because they're familiar enough with him. But all of that remains to be seen. So,
well, I'd rather him over Bussy right now.
I was just going to say, yeah, no kidding.
Speaking of which, let's get to Providence.
I was going to say, yeah, Providence.
Because DiPietro won again on Friday over the Toronto Marlies. Yeah. It's too bad Fraser Minton couldn't walk across the hall and play for Providence that night because he was there with the Marlies. As we said last night on the show, he didn't have a work visa in place, so he couldn't play for Providence Friday or Saturday. So
sounds like they play again on Wednesday. Excuse me, and he will be ready.
Yeah. So our old friend Oliver Wahlstrom, hat trick.
Who saw that coming?
Well, if you look at some of the goals, Anyway, just play them, Chris.
So here's the first one.
Pitlick's Park. Over the blue line, waiting. Merkulov, left wing, centering pass. Wallstrom, a shot. He scores! Wide open for Oliver Wallstrom and the Bruins. Got a power play goal.
I think
I'll tell you what, the goaltender should have been there for that.
I was going to say, yeah, someone didn't get over across the goal in time. I mean, talk about slow reaction. Hoo-wee. Yikes.
Yeah. So, I know there's been, when people saw Wallstrom got a hat trick, they were like, why could he not do that in the NHL? Well, it's the difference between NHL goaltenders and American Hockey League goaltenders.
I think I'm missing the second one because I have the one that makes it 5-1.
Oh, well, I probably left it out because it was another bad goal.
But I can play the other one here real quick while we're still on him.
Forehand and carries it over the blue line. Assisted by Lysell. Callahan a tip, and they're on the board again.
Yeah, to those wondering why he couldn't do that in Boston, the goaltenders at the NHL level are better. They get across for that stop.
It looked like
was a good shot, though.
Oh, yeah. It's a hat. You get that much open net, you better put it in.
Yeah. So Riley Turan also scored in that game. Do we have that one?
I've also got Pitlick's.
Okay, do Pitlick's first.
Pitlick and VL. Scrum for the puck. Quick shot, and Pitlick scores.
Right off the face-off.
3-0 Bruins as the offensive tirade continues.
And who took that draw? John Farinacci.
Yeah. And then we got Duran's goal.
Duran make it 4-0 here. Again, highlighted at the dot.
Full offensive pressure. Shot save. Rebound. Duran scores. 4 unanswered goals, and the Bruins have a commanding lead.
The next little ball of hate. He won't put up numbers like Brad Marchand did. Trust me on that one. Mikey D stopped 25 of 27 shots. Pair of assists for Fabian Lysell. Then we go to Saturday. Brandon Bussey, another loss. 2-1 to Springfield.
And they gave up the lead in this one.
Stopped 18 shots. Thing is they outshot the Thunderbirds 40-20, and you lose 2-1. That's your offense not coming through.
But one person did come through.
Joey Abadi. I love this ice surface, man.
Centering it out front, it comes loose to the back post. They score.
Nice little backhander in the front of the net there. So.
And who assisted on that? Tristan Ashbrook. And Billy Sweezy.
I was going to say Ashbrook, the one they just released from the PTO.
So there you go. That's it. No more highlights, everybody. That covers everybody. We know that Matthew Patra's back in Providence. Should know by now. By the way, I want to say before I forget, if you guys can find Spoked Z, that's Z in Zdeno, Spoked Z on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it now. He's got highlights on there of Zeller's biggest goals of the season or nicest goals of the season. So if you get a chance to find him on Twitter, have a look. Pretty nice video montage he put together.
Yeah.
I just had to get in there.
No, I saw that too. It was a great montage there.
Yeah.
So
Colin's a good guy.
So you mentioned that Matthew Poitras down in Providence now.
Yeah.
And at least for now is not a paper transaction.
Right. And I hope they put him back with Georgi Merkulov. Move Merkulov back in the wing and put Poitras in the middle and watch Merkulov take off again.
So I think some of it is the confidence level in Poitras and the confidence level in Merkulov. Putting them back together down in Providence, they let them cook again. Mark Diver tweeted this out earlier today. I guess he was at Providence's practice, and he said Matthew Poitras centered Georgi Merkulov and Oliver Wahlstrom at this morning's practice. Fraser Minten was between Jeffrey Vielle and Tyler Pitlick.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm wondering if Fraser Minten being paired with Tyler Pitlick is a kind of a get him used to the system, get him with a veteran type move, and then we see that maybe adjusted going forward.
So who was Lysell with?
Let's see. So the last line I saw Lysell with was the lines for the March 8th game, Saturday's game against Springfield. And he was on the left of Merkulov and Wahlstrom.
No, but from practice today, did he not?
He didn't send out the entire lines. Just
okay.
Two. But if he was with Merkulov and Wahlstrom on Saturday, probably Vielle was with Farinacci and Pitlick. So you figure Fraser Mitten's put in there. Lysell's probably paired with Farinacci.
So the Merkulov-Poitras pair tells me a couple of things. A, that they have chemistry, and we know that they have chemistry. And B, they want to keep building that chemistry. C, they haven't totally given up on Georgi Merkulov, or they wouldn't be playing him with Matthew Poitras. And D, that what we've been saying about Matthew Poitras' production at the NHL level holds true. That, you know, he's a playmaker and he needs to play with goal scorers. Like he was at his best when he was with David Pastrnak in the NHL. Everybody was raving about the setups and then started complaining that he wasn't doing anything. And we'll see what he does with Georgi, because we know Georgi Merkulov can score goals.
Yeah. I think some of it is right now. I mean, but we already know, we've accepted the Boston Bruins season is not based on wins and losses anymore.
No.
Mathematically, yes, they can still get to a playoff spot and whatever, all that stuff, fine. But they've resigned based on the moves by blowing it up on Friday. They are not worried about the playoffs for this season. They're just not. They're worried about the Calder Cup playoffs down in Providence, so that's why those guys were all sent down. Right now, it's a matter of we've got a ton of new kids in the system. Let's get them all settled, and then we'll figure out how we want to move the chess pieces around.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, Pitlick paired with Fraser Minten, veteran with a kid that's been around for 48 hours. Makes total sense. Honestly, I can almost guarantee you he would have been paired with Patrick Brown if Patrick Brown was down in Providence.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why they have those guys there.
So, yeah, it makes the most sense. I'm actually checking to see if there were any other transactions today that haven't come through yet. But nope, just the Gaudette and Ashbrook. Yeah. So Patrick Brown going down on the 7th was a paper transaction because he was recalled same day.
Yeah.
But that makes him eligible for
the
Calder
playoffs.
Cup. Marat Kuznetsov. Did I get it right?
We're just calling him Kuzi.
Kuzi was also sent down and called back up, and then he played in Saturday's game against the Lightning. Letary, same thing. So Fraser Mitten eligible for the playoffs, Daniil Misiul eligible for the playoffs, all down in Providence. So again,
yeah, I also noticed that Mark Dibber tweeted out today that Max Wanner wasn't there because he had to go deal with family matter. So let's hope everything is okay. Don't know if we're going to get to see him this weekend. So
yeah, basically right now, Friday, you shook the snow globe of both of your parts of the organization, Boston and Providence. Let it settle down, and then you can start saying, okay, do we want to see Fraser Mitten at the NHL at all? Do we want to see Matthew Poitras come back? Because here's the other question, and I know I have my response to it, or here's my point. There's no harm in leaving Matthew Poitras down in Providence for the rest of the season.
None.
So, if anything, there's a long-term benefit because he can continue to work with Georgi Merkulov and Oliver Wahlstrom. And
here's the thing, though. We now know what we're going to get with Matthew Poitras. We know what he is.
Yeah.
We still don't know what Georgi Merkulov is and what Fabian Lysell is. They deserve to spend considerable amount of time in the NHL over these last few weeks because they need to know what they have in them before they go free agent shopping.
Oh, I agree. And there's still more work to be done. I mean, you got to see, can Fabian Lysell play with Casey Middlestead? I'd love to see that.
Yeah, but you know what? Unless they're called up, we're not going to, because they're not sending Casey Middlestead down.
No, I just don't think those call-ups are going to happen right away. Boston plays again tomorrow. I think they're going to try and see what this, because right now they're not carrying any extra forwards. They got 12 forwards and 6D on the lineup on the roster right now, and 2 goaltenders. So they have 4 call-ups that they can utilize.
Yeah.
And call them up and leave them up.
But let me give you an example. Patrick Brown can go back down. You're not now short a player. Okay. Emergency recall Fabian Lysell. Put him with Kuzi and Lindholm.
Mm-hmm.
And put Kostelic back down on the 4th line with Lauko and Beecher.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea. I don't. I just right now it remains to be seen how Don Sweeney handles it. And with the game tomorrow, now it's just a matter of what are they going to do for tomorrow's game. I wouldn't be surprised if that type of transaction happens after tomorrow's game. You give everybody another day. I mean, you also just shook up the entire roster by dealing. You gave them a mental blow by dealing Brad Marchand. So to take a step back and go, let's wait a couple more days and then do this, I don't see that being a problem.
So let me ask you this, because this is the position they're in now. Let's say a defenseman goes down in the NHL.
Yep.
There's only 6 on the roster. Who are you bringing up?
Who goes down?
Doesn't matter. Anyone, pick your anyone.
100% matters though, because
No, it doesn't. Not when.
I think first,
Okay, if a left shot defenseman goes down, it's Mike Callahan.
I think Mike Callahan's first up no matter who goes down, to be honest with you, because Parker Wotherspoon can shift over. But if it's Wotherspoon who goes down, then Callahan can come up. But yes, I agree. They need to call somebody up. But I think you want to see how Wayner plays, how Monsieur plays, and, how did those guys play? They play on Wednesday. So if you play Boston on Tuesday, Providence on Wednesday, then after that game, you can make some transactions for Boston's game. Are they playing on Thursday or Friday?
I'm not sure.
I'm pulling it up right now. I just don't remember when their game is after, because they have the advantage of games played over quite a few teams right now.
By the way, if anybody's got any questions, throw them up now.
They play Thursday and then again on Saturday. So you can make transactions for Thursday's game based on how guys play in Providence on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So.
But you don't want them playing in Providence Wednesday and then the NHL Thursday.
No, but you have your next game on Saturday, so you can call them up on Thursday, have them watch the game in the press box, make a corresponding transaction if you need to on Friday, and then you have them for the Saturday game. Again, it depends on who gets called up.
I don't see anybody other than Mike Callahan. First of all, you can't call Ortiz up. He's not on an NHL contract.
I just meant it across the team in general. But yeah, for defense, it's got to be Callahan, and he's got to be the guy. Maybe Billy Sweezy, but I think Callahan's first guy up.
It has to be. I personally, I think he's the only one capable at this point.
Yeah, for now, yeah.
But really, there's only two players on the Providence roster right now that I want to see in the NHL trying out, and that's Georgi Merkulov and Fabian Lysell. Maybe give Michael DiPietro a game or two. Those are the three.
What about John Farinacci?
At this point, no.
Okay.
I'm really big on him and have wanted him to, but there's just too many bodies for you to be looking at and trying to get a read on. They absolutely have to get a read on Georgi Merkulov right now. And they need to know if there's anything in Fabian Lysell before they go out and spend the money to replace Fabian Lysell and what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, even Jeff is now chiming in. What about Farinacci? So, yeah.
Jeff, I've been really high on him. I've been saying for over a month, maybe 6 weeks, he needs to be a call-up. He deserves it. He's earned it. But there's too many bodies that this team needs to get a read on right now. Let him marinate in Providence until next year.
So, going through Providence's roster, we've got a handful of RFAs and UFAs. I'm curious to see where you're at with them for the plan going into next season. So, would you re-sign? Would you? None of these guys are going to get more than their qualifying offer at most. So, would you qualify the following? Oliver Wahlstrom.
Yeah, I'd keep him around in the AHL.
I wouldn't mind seeing him brought back just to continue in Providence. And, I mean, he's still a former first-round pick, so something might click at some point and you get a solid player out of him. But 24, what's his qualifying offer going to be if he's at $1 million right now? Still
I
going to
don't
be
know.
low enough they can bury it, so I'm not that worried about it. Georgi Merkulov, I would 100% qualify him.
100%.
My big concern is whether or not he's going to decide he wants to go back to Russia.
Oh no, there's a couple of Russians on the team now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that played a little bit of a role in targeting Kuzi over there. So I would 100% qualify John Farinacci.
100%.
I would qualify Trevor Kuntar just to see if he can have a bounce back season next year.
Yep.
I'm iffy on whether or not I would qualify Jackson Nelson.
No.
I was going to say, I'm leaning towards not, just because you have guys coming in soon from the NCAA that I'd rather see have that spot. Let's see, you don't have to worry about Duran, Lysell, Harrison, or Minton. Unrestricted free agent, Riley Tufte. Would you bring him back?
On a two-way in the AHL, yeah.
Okay, what about Tyler Pitlick?
Definitely. On a two-way in the AHL. If he earns an NHL job or an NHL time, great. But he's been lights out in the AHL for them this year on an AHL deal. Remember, he just signed his NHL contract.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's absolutely earned another year as a veteran down there, and possibly someone that you can bring up depending on how deep into your pool you have to go for players. So Danil Misiul, though, he's an RFA. I think you brought him in just so you can bring him back for next season. I would give him a qualifying offer.
Probably.
And put him on the left side. Drew Bavaro, obviously on loan right now, but are you looking at qualifying him?
He didn't play a lot this year, man. A lot's going to depend on what he does with Cleveland the rest of the way.
Yeah, he's someone that I can see not getting a qualifying offer, maybe getting a PTO, maybe not just from Boston, but have a few options. Just because, again, you're going to have some right shot D coming in, maybe Murenberg. We know Gallagher's coming in. He didn't earn more playing time this year. So, let's see. Frederick Brunet is all set. Loke Johansson's all set, as are Jackson Edward, Ryan Mass, and Max Wayner. And then Billy Sweezy as well. So other than the goaltenders, Michael Callahan will be an unrestricted Group 6 free agent at 25 years old. Are you bringing him back?
I would like to. But he's probably looking at Boston and saying, I don't have a window to play in Boston, and is probably looking at free agency.
Yeah, as a Group 6, even if you want to bring him back, you're not going to offer him more than other teams are. And exactly that. His path here is blocked more than anywhere else. Unless there's a move made on draft day and one of those left shot D and Hampus Lindholm would be the target. Unless you move off of Hampus Lindholm for whatever reason, there's all three spots that in the starting lineup are filled. So I just don't see him moving off Zadorov, and I would not move off of Mason Lohrei. So I'd bring back, just as for the goaltenders, I'd let Bussy walk, and I'd bring back DiPietro if possible.
Well, I'm trying to bring back both if I could.
If I can, I'd bring them both back just because it's a solid duo down there. And, I mean, I don't know if anybody else is going to offer Bussy an opportunity for the NHL. But they need to get more goaltending in their system. So Jason has an idea here. He says that we should do a draft ranking show to give us poor fools an idea of who to watch out for. I know you got a lot of stuff coming out around the draft.
Yeah, we'll have stuff coming out. It's 3.5 months away. probably the beginning of June or when the Stanley Cup Finals are being held. That way we'll know just about where every pick is.
Do we know when they're doing the lottery poll?
No.
Okay. Yeah, let's get through the lottery poll first, too, because, Boston has a shot to have their fair pick of whoever the hell they want. So we'll have to see. And I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday after the show, so we'll have to see what's coming up. But like you said, the draft is 3 months away. So, but we'll be doing stuff. I can assure you of that.
Again, we're trying to do. We're trying to get a show for next Wednesday for college free agents now that the college free agency season is upon us. I think that comes before the draft because there's a couple of players there that I would like to get that are probably better than a second round pick. So we'll try and keep things chronological. That's next thing on the agenda. And we'll try and get a show together for next Wednesday on that one.
I'm glad
like I said at the beginning, I'm going to try and get somebody on that scouts the NCAA and can give us their opinion on at least the players that I'm targeting anyway.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I know it's just after 8, but I did think of this question earlier. We were going through all the players. We were talking about that goaltender up in UMaine, and you said he's not draft eligible. What makes him not draft eligible compared to us? Well, let's say Jeremy Swayman, who also went to UMaine. What is different about this kid versus Swayman, who went to UMaine as well, to make one draft out? Like, what would make a NCAA player no longer eligible for the draft? Let me word it that way.
It's age. It's always age.
So what age is that cutoff?
If you're 20, you're not draft eligible anymore.
Okay, because I was looking earlier. The goaltender is 21.
Okay, he's not draft eligible. So this year's draft is for 07s, players born in 07. They're first-time eligibles.
God,
anybody
07.
Born between January 1st and September 15th, 2005 is third-time eligible. Anybody born December 31st, 2004 or earlier is no longer eligible for the draft.
God, you're making me feel that much older, Dom. You said born in 2007. Whoa.
Yeah. So January 1st to September 15th, 05, they're in their third draft. September 16th to September 15th, 06, they're in their second draft. And September 16th, 06 to September 15th, 07 are in their first draft for this year.
All right, and then real quick, Jeff is asking, what about Mason Millman's contract status?
AHL deal, I would sign him. I really would. I've been saying it for 2 months now. He's probably been their best all-around defenseman since they brought him up from Maine.
Now, I will point out, too, that throughout the organization right now, they have 5 spots that they are able to use for contract opportunities at the NHL level. So maybe they offer bringing a guy like Ty Gallagher and say, here's an AHL contract, and they make him turn pro that way and then get him an NHL contract when some of those other spots open up.
That's the way the Bruins usually do it. Remember, they did it to Charlie McAvoy.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the AHL deal for the rest of the year. We'll get your contract done for next year. And unfortunately, injuries happened, so they had to sign him and use him in the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, and I'd say it's worked out pretty well for him up until this shoulder injury. So let's keep that going. And Dom, like I said, it's a little after 8. Sorry we kept you a few extra minutes here, but you got any other final thoughts to wrap up as we head into college free agency watch?
Lose Bruins, get that high draft pick.